Brexit might not happen for a couple of years according to a dramatic claim from an EU exit-backing Tory MP. The claim was made by Brexiteer David Davis during an appearance on BBC Newsnight. Britain is currently due to leave the EU on the 31st of October. However, MPs opposed to a hard Brexit passed a law last month making this illegal without Parliament's express permission. On Friday, Brexit Secretary Steve Barclay and EU negotiating chief Michel Barnier had what both men termed a constructive meeting. EU leaders have announced Brexit negotiations with the UK will intensify over the coming days. The European Leaders Summit next week on the 17th of October is widely seen as the government's last chance to get a Brexit agreement before it is legally obliged to ask for an extension. Speaking on BBC Newsnight, Mr. Davis said he would accept a delay if it ensures Brexit takes place in full. He commented, "I'm an arch-Brexiteer. I would like to see Britain completely out of the European Union. But I'm also a realist and I recognise that the country was split on this. There was a split in Parliament and frankly it took us 40 years to go from a trading arrangement towards being part of what I believe to be a nascent federal state. If it takes us a couple more years to get out, if we have to take our time over it, then frankly if that gets this through Parliament then I'm fine with it." Mr. Davis campaigned for Brexit ahead of the 2016 EU membership referendum. However, he did later vote for Theresa May's Brexit withdrawal agreement. The deadlock in Brexit negotiations is focused around the status of Northern Ireland, and whether it remains part of the EU single market or customs union. Under the backstop provision agreed by Mrs May, the UK would automatically fall into a customs union with the EU if a new trading relationship couldn't be agreed during a transition period. This would mean Britain would struggle to sign comprehensive trade deals with other countries and would still have to implement a significant proportion of EU regulations. However, this plan was repeatedly attacked by Mr. Johnson as undemocratic. Under Mr. Johnson's proposals, Northern Ireland would leave the EU customs union at the start of 2021. However, EU legislation would continue to be applied over agriculture and other areas. Northern Ireland's politicians and the Belfast Assembly would have a chance to approve this relationship every 4 years. There would also be a very small number of physical checks some way back from the border. However, both Dublin and the EU are refusing to accept any deal that includes physical checks on the island of Ireland. The Northern Irish Unionist DUP have vowed to oppose any deal that traps the province in the European Customs Union or single market. DUP leader Arlene Foster commented, "Anything that traps Northern Ireland in the EU, whether single market or customs union, as the rest of the UK leaves will not have our support." The Prime Minister is very mindful of that. On Friday, the pound rose to a 3-month high against the dollar and euro as hopes of a Brexit deal increased.